Well, this is Dandy loading, which I did say I was going to try it on the CRT, but to be honest, the C64 full-size CRT effect is not bad, and my C64 is being used with a plasma. Plus, that Trinitron is one of the worst fucking Trinitron screens I've ever seen. It's more like a fucking Gold Star. Not as bad as a Gold Star, but what I imagine a Gold Star to be like. Compared to a Trinitron from the 80s versus the one I've got now. Yeah, I'm having to talk bollocks because there is bugger all on the loader for this. Okay, now, bit of history, if I can remember this correctly. Ale dungeons. How many dungeons you got? Only 3? Okay, so there's no music at all. Now, the guy who wrote Dandy, apparently Atari saw it, they created Gauntlet, and yeah. Lots of legal discussions ensued, and I think they had to release Dandy as I can't remember how it works. But anyway, the guy who wrote Dandy is pretty much where Gauntlet came from, sued the shit out of them. I think Gauntlet's much better. But yeah, here we go. So they are doing the same thing that Gauntlet does. You are the only sprite. I mean, the graphics for your shots are so shit. Right, I've broken the C64 full-size microswitch joystick. So there's that. Going on with the zooming on this shit. Very difficult to set up the borders when the flashing lines are on. I thought these were little spiders. Why are these spiders asleep? Wake up, little spider, is what I would have said as a kid. Obviously it sounds stupid if I said that now, which is why I said it. So, I can't remember what game I was talking about when I said I'll have to try. Oh, Ranorama, that was it, yes. So, Gan's Teeth, I can't remember if he mentioned Dandy or if I did. But it's a similar sort of Spectrum port job as Ranorama on the C64 was. And that's really what I remember about Dandy. And they're both flip screen Gauntlet style games with Spectrum graphics. So I wanted to check out what the graphics look like on the, a real CRT. Because I thought, I bet your life they're not using a high-res screen, which is insane. A bitmap screen, that is, because they're not actually scrolling any of the screen. So there's no reason why you would do this as a character-based high-res screen, because on the Spectrum you can actually change the background as well as the foreground colour for each character block or 8x8 pixel area in the bitmap. So, the fact that there is no loading music, no title screen in the loader, no title page music, it's not even making a sound when you lose energy. I can't. Where is my energy anyway? Oh, there it is, 920. But on the C64 you can't actually change the background colour. You can only change the foreground colour. So again, we have a horrible fucking conversion of an Atari game that ended up via Electric Dreams on the Amstrad and the Spectrum. I'd be highly surprised then if this Amstrad isn't used mode 1, which is the 4 colour mode, 320 by 200 pixels, but only 4 colours on the screen. Anywhere on the screen, unless you use rasters. Never mind on the same line. So that's... but of course they can also be any 4 colours for background or foreground, which again begs the question, why the fuck are they using a character based high-res screen instead of a bitmap one? Because the C64 can actually do exactly the same graphics as the Spectrum in its high-res mode. Oh, that was a teleport. So it does do diagonals. I mean, if you bought this, which I wouldn't have done because this is 1986 and I stopped buying games based on their cover and the blurb as soon as there were actual screenshots and regular reviews of new C64 releases. So I'm wondering now if the Spectrum actually does have just one colour change and a black background for all the graphics as well now. So again, we might be in a situation that you're better off playing it on the Spectrum. I'll tell you something, the way this C64 microswitch joystick is at the moment, I probably prefer it to play it on a 48K Specky. Because at least then it would impress me. It's like, right, yeah, okay, you've actually designed the game around the limitations of what you've got. You don't even have a bloody title tune or anything on this. And the sound effects are very similar to the kind of noises they would have tried to make on the Spectrum beeper. I'm not being rude, that's just a fact. So it's like, I wouldn't have been happy with this at all. And I won't play it now either. Considering potentially, I can just connect up my MP3 player to my Spectrum 128 and just load it in 48K mode, tape loader. See, that's another thing. I'll kill loads of them, go off the screen, and they're all back there. So flip screen doesn't work anyway. You should never have a flip screen game on the C64. It's a disadvantage. See, this is great for racking up a high score, but famously, Mad Commodore doesn't give a shit about high scores. He gives a shit about getting the furthest possible in the game to see more of the graphics and hear more of the sounds and see more of the sprites and animations. Well, you are the only sprite. Everything else is a shitty monochrome fucking background graphic. I don't want to see any more of the graphics anyway. The colour choices are poor. I mean, they could add all sorts of colours. I mean, why is the fucking stone tiles light green and yellow and brown? I don't even think that's orange. Could be actually, could be orange. It's like one of those could be grey and one of those could be sort of like blue. Or maybe a different set of greys. You know what? The graphics could be so much better, even in character mode. So they've actually made the ridiculous choice of doing it this way, limiting the number of colours the C64 can display on the screen quite significantly. I mean, this is why people would copy games. You know, this is why Zap sold so many copies, because they were like, we're not taking any shit. I can guarantee you the comments in Zap were probably along the same lines. Yeah, you know, the game's alright, but flip screen doesn't really improve the gauntlet situation. So it doesn't improve the game playing experience, and the graphics are rubbish. And there's no title music, and the sound effects are rubbish as well. Yeah, I'm struggling to justify not giving this game 0 out of 10. Actually, make that 0 out of infinity, because 0 is the opposite of infinity. 0 doesn't exist in reality. It's a mathematical concept. You can always re-ask the question, and when you update the figures, it's no longer 0. You know, 0.00 recurring infinitely 1 is the same as infinity 1. You see? I've fucking gone down a black hole with this review, but yeah, basically, fucking Electric Dreams were cocksuckers. And Activision, their later games were fucking horrible on the C64. Do I need to talk about Afterburner and Super Hang-On? Well, I'm not playing them. Bollocks.